In this video, we're going to be talking through the step-by-step process you should follow in order to maximize your close rates from the leads you generate via cold email. My name is Felix. I run a GTM engineering agency called Stack Optimize. We send over 2 million emails a month for more than 35 different high-growth B2B companies. If you need help running your outbound campaigns, just book a meeting via my Calendly link in the description here. So let's jump into it. Cold email is one of the least trusted channels out there. From a prospect's perspective, you are a complete stranger sending them a few lines of text on a blank screen. There is a much larger trust gap that we need to bridge versus a lead that's come inbound or someone that we've been referred to or intro to. So it's really important we have a well-oiled sales process in order to close that gap and actually ensure that we are closing the leads that we are generating via cold email. There's so many steps to ensuring success is achieved with this channel. There's getting replies, getting positive replies, getting meetings, and then closing those meetings. Every part of the funnel needs to be optimized, and actually taking a meeting that's generated from cold email all the way to close is challenging, and we need to have things fully optimized in order to maximize our chances of doing this. So let's jump into it. Now, the first thing, you need to have a good online presence. When we send someone a cold email, one of the first things they're going to do, if there's any amount of interest there, is they're going to check out our website. They might even look us up on LinkedIn. And it's really important that those things are looking good. That kind of goes without saying. Everyone knows you need to have a good website and a good social presence in 2026. But these things are going to shape that first impression that the prospect has of your brand. And you don't get a second chance to create a first impression. Having a good website or not can be the difference between whether or not a prospect decides to respond to your email and ultimately book a meeting. So it's really important having a good website, having a good social media presence. However, the purpose of this video is focusing more on what happens after that initial meeting is booked in. So when we get that meeting booked in, we want to have a pre-call cadence in place. The prospect has responded. We've got the meeting booked in. There might be a day or two. There might even be a week between when we've got the meeting booked in and the meeting actually taking place. So we want to use that time to do really two things. We want to firstly ensure that the prospect is actually going to show up. And then we also want to build more and more familiarity with the prospect over that time and increase the prospect's perception of us. So here's how we do that. First thing you want to set up is a pre-meeting drip sequence. We do this via Clay and SmartLead, and basically anytime a prospect books a meeting with us, we send that prospect's information back into Clay and we create a series of personalized touch points that will be sent out prior to the meeting taking place. These touch points will include things like directions to our social media channels, case studies, custom strategy ideas. We've even done drip sequences where we send an AI personalized video of myself created using HeyGen. But you want these touch points to be frequent, relevant, and credible. The next thing we want to do as part of our pre-call cadence is to have reminders. This is different to your pre-meeting drip. Your pre-meeting drip is all about layering social proof and branding and awareness and getting the prospect exposed to who you are as a business. The reminders should be scheduled to go out before the actual meeting takes place, ideally 10 minutes before, 30 minutes before, and 1 hour before. And this is just to ensure the prospect actually shows up to the meeting. The final point here about the pre-call cadence is including some social connection. So for us, this is primarily LinkedIn connection. When a meeting is booked, I will connect with them on LinkedIn. My co-founder will connect with them on LinkedIn. Our team members will connect with them on LinkedIn. This, again, is going to do a few things. It's going to take them over to our LinkedIn presence where we're very active on LinkedIn. And it's also just going to, again, build up that credibility. It's showing that I'm not just a one-man band trying to make a buck on the internet. I actually have a team. The team are invested in what's going on in the business, including the prospects that are in our sales process. And it just builds up, again, I say more trust and more credibility. Now, moving on to the call itself, I always recommend doing at least a 2-call sales process. Especially with cold traffic, it's really important we have multiple touch points and we meet the prospect multiple times in order to, again, build that familiarity, build that relationship, and bridge that trust gap. When it comes to the first call, what we want to do is we want the prospect coming away from that first call feeling as though we really understand their business and that we can genuinely, truly help them, and that we are really eager to help them because we know we can deliver results for them. So here's how we want to approach that first call. The first thing we want to do is just have the correct framing. We don't want the prospect feeling as though they are just entering into another sales demo with a sales rep who has 10 other sales demos with 10 different companies, none of which he really knows anything about, and he's just going through the motions. So in our first call, we like to really clearly and explicitly show or demonstrate that we really understand their business. So we will get AI to basically do a bunch of research about the prospect and about the company before the call that we can then use essentially in our script. So we will open a call, but we'll basically start by saying, Mr. Prospect, thanks for taking on the call. I already researched your business. I know this, and this about your company. There's a few gaps that we just don't have the information for because it's not publicly available that we would like to gather from you. And then if all looks good from there, we can kind of walk through exactly how we think we can generate value for your business. We want to present a fully personalized pitch deck. With our first pitch decks, we'll include the prospect's logo in there. We'll include custom strategy ideas tailored specifically for their business. And all of this can be generated automatically with AI. Now, we also want to set up the second call, ensuring we get that second call booked in while we are still speaking with the prospect on this call. We never want to have the ball in the prospect's court, so to speak. In other words, we don't want to leave the call with nothing booked in. And then it's basically down to the prospect to come back to us and decide whether or not we want to take that second call. Otherwise, we're basically just in chasing mode. So on that first call, it's really important that we get that second call booked in there and then. Now, with that second call, we want to create a compelling reason for why the prospect should show up. It shouldn't just be like a catch-up call or a touching base call or anything like that. We want to give the prospect a really good reason as to why they should show up. So with our sales process, the way we position it is the first call is more of an information gathering call, making sure we're the right fit for you, you're the right fit for us. And then the second call, we frame it as a custom action plan where we will walk through an action plan tailored specifically to their business around exactly how we would launch campaigns for them, the scope, the volume, the specific angles, the specific strategies, and the expected lead volume and ROI calculation. And then they have everything they need to make the most informed decision to move forward for them. So after the first call, we then want to have a post-call cadence, starting with follow-up. Now, follow-up after the first call is actually a really underrated touch point. If we have a really thorough, really detailed follow-up where we so clearly demonstrate just how much we understand their business and then going into specific details around why our services specifically could help them in their current situation, it's going to create a really positive feeling for the prospect. So again, we generate all our follow-ups with AI. The way we do this is we get Demo Desk to record all of our calls. We process the call transcript inside of Claude Code, and then Claude Code creates a really thorough, really detailed follow-up going into lots of specifics around why we would be a great fit for them. As part of our follow-ups, we also layer in more social proof. So we attach our case studies, we attach other bits of social proof that are relevant to the prospect. Now, we also want to be multi-threading. So this is a chance to connect with other stakeholders, other people that might be involved in the buying decision. We usually do this on LinkedIn. We'll just drop them a connection request saying, hey, John, I just had a great chat with your CEO, James. We spoke about this, this, and this would be relevant for you as well, looping you into the conversation, et cetera, et cetera. And then finally, layering in more social proof. I've already touched on this. We might include this as part of the follow-up. Additional things we can do to go above and beyond here is offering to introduce the prospect to an existing customer of ours for an in-person referral. Now, the next step is the second call. So the second call is all about walking through that custom action plan that we built. Again, we want this to be a really tailored, customized proposal for them. And in this plan, they will basically have everything they need in one deck to make a decision and move forward. Important things to include in this plan is obviously the scope of the work, the pricing, timeline, process, et cetera, et cetera. We also want to include an ROI calculation with worst and best case scenarios and get the prospect to verbally agree to the metric, to the numbers that we've put together in that ROI calculation. We want to frame this call in a way where at the end of this call, they will have all of the information they need to move forward. Ideally, we will close them there and then on the call and collect payment on the call. In some industries, this isn't always possible. So we will then send the proposal to them on the call. This is really important. We want to send the email with the proposal in it on the call and just get them to confirm that they've actually received the proposal. This way we don't have any issues with the email getting lost or landing in spam or anything like that. And then we want to get a touch point booked in no later than 1 week after to be framed as a feedback session where they can ask us any questions or anything they're uncertain about regarding the proposal. Ideally, we want to close them before we need to take that call. But again, we just always want to have a touch point in the calendar. If you need help building a cold email system that not only generates leads and meetings, but working with a partner that will actually help you on the closing part as well, book some time in my calendar below and let's chat.